Hello friends, welcome to another video. In this video, we are going to look into how to create Pareto charts using new Power BI Window DAX functions. I know there are many blog posts and videos on this, but in this video, we are going to develop something where we can actually select a dimension on which we want to plot the Pareto chart, and we will explore how that is going to be possible. Let's get to Power BI and take a look. I'm not going to go into the full detail of what the Pareto chart is, what the ABC analysis and all that stuff, and also not going too deep into Windows DAX functions because I have a series on Windows functions. Do check out that playlist. But we're going to look into the actual solutions. So here what I have is a showing. Let's say we want to draw a Pareto chart using color as our dimension and on the sales as our measure. And here I have a showing the sales by color, and we need two things when we need to create a Pareto chart. We need a running total, which is highest value from the sales, and running total going up to the topmost sales to the lowest sale, and then also the total sales, and then we divide running total sales with the total sales to get the percentage, and that's how does this work. So Windows DAX functions make it really easy to create the running total on measures. Let's create a running total measure first. Let's call this a running total by color. Running total by color. And we are going to use window function again, which measure we want to do the running total again on sales. And then window function, we're going to use 1 absolute and 0 relevant. So this is the starting position, this is the second position, again from 2, and the relation is the table. So that will be all selected color, because that, why we're using color, because that is what we're using in our visual. And then order by, and order by would be by sales measure. Now again, this particular feature that you can use the measures in the order by has been recently included in the Windows DAX functions. In my Windows series, I have to create a table on the fly and add the sales. That can, now we can use the measure directly in the order table, in the order by function. And then we need to order by descending, because we want the highest value at the top and then do the running total. So if we put this measure here in the visualization, once this is done, and as you can see, we have the running total. First is 9 million, and then plus 7 is a 16, and 522, and this is working perfectly fine. So that's the running total. Again, I just want to show you guys what this 1 absolute and means. So if I use from and to for both 1 absolute, what does this? It's going to give me on these products by color. What we're going to get here is one single value, and which is the first value, because when we are saying give us a table which has a color and sales and order by sales in the descending, we get the 1 absolute give us the first ever in that element. So that's what we are getting, the 906 in everywhere. If we use 0 relative position, let's see if we change it to both to this, just want to make sure that understand the basics of how this window function work. Again, I have a video on this, do check out that video. So what this will give us, this will give us the total of the each color against that. So let's take a look. So that's the same value, because we are seeing the relative position. So because we want it, the absolute give us always the first position, and the relative give us the recent position. So that's how the running total is working in this particular case. So this is one absolute. So let's store this in a variable for now. Let's call it running total. And other part we need to calculate the Pareto chart is the total sales. So that's pretty straightforward. I'm gonna create another variable here. This is just to demo how what the measures is gonna look like. So I'm gonna go all selected product color. So basically we're saying, okay, remove any filter on the color and give us the total sales. So this will give me the total sales, which is 30 million. So we will get the 30 million for each particular color against each color. Now we have both the components. We have the running total and then we also have the total sales. So now it is very easy to calculate the percentage which we need for the Pareto chart. So what is that? That's going to look like running total divided by total sales. So that is our percentage for against each color. Here you go. So the black, up to black is 30% and then red is 56%, 73% and so forth, so on. And if we now change it to a line chart, so let's see what we get here. Here you go. And what we just need to show the running total by color and sort it by ascending. So here you go. So now what we have is a Pareto chart showing a of sales by color. Until this point, everything is pretty straightforward and easy. But let's go back to metrics visual here. So we have this running total percentage. I'm going to put this. Let's say if we want to change it to, instead of color, we want it to be, let's say, by country. So what happens? Now everything here is not working. We're getting 100%. So our RT by color, which was working fine when we were using the color dimension, it worked fine. But as soon as we put the another dimension, which is in this case country, and our percentage is not correct anymore. And the reason behind that is, again, let's go to the measure. Because what we're saying here is all selected products color. We are specifying that we want our window function to work on a table which is all selected color, and that's why it is not working. And also we're saying the total sales is all selected products color, because that is what is also just removing the filter on the colors, not on the country. So two things what we need to do is to make it work for any other dimension, that's in this case country. What I need to do is I need to geography country, and here I can say all selected and remove any column, because that means whatever is selected, just use that. And now the percentage will be correct in this particular case. Everything should work now. Here you go. So this is working fine, and now I can change it to the line chart and everything should be fine. So now it is by a Pareto chart by country. But the challenge with this solution is, what about if we want to give the functionality to the user? Hey, you choose how you want to see the Pareto chart. You want to see it by country, you want to see it by color, or by any other dimension. How we can make it dynamic, how we can make it work, so that user in the slicer pick up a dimension which we can easily achieve using field parameters. Do check out my videos on field parameter. I put the link in the description of this video. So we can use field parameters to control the dimension, but how will that work? Let's try to create that for color and country and see what happens. I'm going to switch it back to metrics table visual and look at it. So here you go. So that is our measure and our country. I'm not going to create a field parameter here because I already have created. It's pretty straightforward. I call it field parameter columns. So I have actually three columns in here: product category, color, and country. So let's bring this in. Instead of using the country, we can use the column from the field parameter columns. So that's what we are using. And then we are going to use it as a slicer as well, so that we pick one dimension only and see how does this work. So if we pick color, So we see color here, and our RT by color, this Pareto chart percentage, I think I should change it now. RT by color, let's change it to Pareto percentage or something like that. Okay. So this Pareto percentage measure is not correct when we're using color, but if we use country, it will be fine, because in the measure we set all selected country and it is working. And similarly, what will happen if we use the product category? It would not work, because again, this goes back to the measure which we have written Pareto percentage. Oh, sorry. Pareto percentage, because we have specified here all selected geography country, and that's why it is not working. So what we can do to make it dynamic? So here what we're going to do is we are going to take advantage of calculation groups. Again, one of my favorite areas. We're going to take advantage of calculation groups and also work with the field parameters to make it work. So let's see how we can do that. I actually already created a calculation groups to make it work. So let me show you guys that. Previously, I did a video on field parameters and calculation groups better together. Do check out that video to understand and learn how we can leverage field parameters and calculation groups together to achieve these kind of functionality which is otherwise not possible. So that's a similar kind of concept I'm going to work here. So what we're going to do is let's go into tabular editor. So in tabular editor, I created a calculation group. I call it calculation group running total. And what I had in there is a column name is called running total. And then I have 3 calculation items, color, country, and product category. Again, these calculation items, we can add more items to it. I have added the calculation items which I'm using in my field parameters. Like I have 3 selections in field parameters. What I'm doing within each particular calculation item, I'm performing the same calculation. And what I'm saying here is whatever the measure I'm using on my visual, in this particular case we're using the sales measure, and window function we are using to calculate our running total. So here I'm mentioning product color, and also order by I'm using the sales selected measure. In case I wanted to do it by quantity, I can also do it by any other measure as well. So in country, I'm using this all selected geography country, and in product category, I'm using product category. Again, I'm writing 3 calculation items against my each field parameter, so that whatever the user make the selection in there, this calculation will be used for that. So once I have, again, I made this calculation group hidden because we don't need to use it, and this is only for the internal calculations. We want the running total by the selection which a user can make. So that's the functionality of this particular calculation group is. Then I created another calculation group, and that is called, I call it calculation group Pareto calculation. And again, actually I'm gonna call it Pareto, whatever you want to name it. So that's the name of the column name in this particular new calculation item. And I have a multiple calculation item here, but I am going to show you guys the Pareto one. So what I'm doing in the Pareto percentage, so let's let me walk through this particular calculation here, which is pretty straightforward. So I'm saying if my measure is not blank, so whatever the measure we are using on the visual, if that is not blank, then we want to perform this calculation. So first I'm getting the selected field parameter. So I'm saying, okay, what value we have selected in the field parameter in the slicer. In this particular case, let's say whatever is selected here, let me collapse this. So if product category is selected or color is selected, what this is what we are going to get into the selected field parameter. And then I'm getting the running total. What is running total? Again, the calculation group which we created already, which is called CG running total. I'm saying selected my year, and then I'm recycling that calculation group again, and I'm saying with CG running total, the running total column, which is this one in this particular, in my CG running total calculation group, my column name is running total. I'm saying if my running total, the value is selected FP, in this case if color is selected, then this calculation item rule will be applied. If country is selected, this will be applied. If product category is selected, this will be applied. So in my Pareto percentage, that's what I'm doing. And the total is, again, it's pretty straightforward. Selected my year, all selected. So basically we're, whatever is selected, we are just using that, removing any filters coming in, and then we are calculating the Pareto percentage. So that's what we are doing. Now how will this work and how this will make it change? So let's go back to Power BI. So what we're going to do here is, so what we're doing is on the columns, we are using the FP columns, because field parameter columns. Why are we using that? Because our x-axis is changing based on whatever we selected, and now we want our measure to be changed as well. So what we will be doing here is, I will bring my calculation group, which I call the calculation group. Actually, we need to apply the changes first. Let's go back here, because we changed the name of the column, apply Pareto. And now I will bring it here just to showcase, and put it as a slicer. And now if I change it to selected in a Pareto percentage, so again this is not working. The reason behind that is, in this visual, what we, instead of using the Pareto percentage measure which we have used, I'm going to use the sales measure. This is our Pareto percentage. So what we have is, if we're using color, now our Pareto percentage look like this. And if we use the product category, this will work perfectly fine and everything is flowing through. And if we go country, it will now do the correct calculation. Now let's change it to a line visual. So here you go. Now what we have is, we have a Pareto chart by country. So United States is 31%, and here up to 62%, and so forth, so on. When we're using color, now our Pareto chart is based on the color, and if we have a product category, and now it is based on the product category. So basically what is happening is, we are taking advantage of our selection, we're changing the dimension, and based on that selection, we are applying using the calculation groups, because the calculation groups has all those calculations done in there. And then this one is, I was just testing something, so that's why we have another item. We don't need to have all these items in here. What I just simply need to do is, on this visual here, in my line visual, I can just go to my calculation group, and in apply Pareto, I just filter on this visual, and then have the Pareto percentage selected, and remove this slicer from here, because I don't need this slicer. So now what would happen, depending on what we use here, so our Pareto chart calculations will work accordingly. So this becomes really dynamic. So what we have done so far, we used Windows functions to calculate the running total, but because in Windows function we need to define what columns we can use, and what we did is, we take advantage of the calculation groups, and created this window function based on the each dimension we wanted to use. And then also we created another calculation group, which is calling the existing calculation group to calculate the percentage, and now everything is flowing through nicely. Continuous to this video, we will do something ABC analysis as well. Since we have a Pareto chart, what we would like to do here is, let's say up to 80% as a class A, and then we will highlight that in a different color, and class B will be highlighted in a different color, and class C will be highlighted in a different color as well. So we can actually do that, and also try to see, can we achieve the similar functionality without a calculation group. So stay tuned for part 2 video. Do subscribe my channel. Until next video, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Thank you.